Our next step is to integrate our pandas into our ticket price component. Please go to your CO6 ticket price component and save it as CO8 ticket price panda. As a challenge, see if you can follow the to-do list on the right-hand side of your screen and add the pandas component into your ticket price component. Here's a quick walkthrough showing you how to integrate your code. Our first step is to take that import pandas line and put it on the first line of our ticket price panda component. Right now, pandas is grayed out because we haven't yet made a data frame. Our next step is to scroll down before the main routine, and we'll want to create our lists. You want to copy and paste your lists, and then remove the content of the lists so that they're empty. Once I've got my lists, I can go ahead and pop in my dictionary. We can then go ahead and get our ticket details. To do this, we want to go to underneath where we calculate the surcharge. We can remove all of the code after that else statement, and then making sure that you're outside the else statement, you can add the name to the all names list. Remember that we're going to use the list name, all names, dot append, name. We can do something similar to add in our ticket price and surcharge to the ticket costs and surcharges lists. We can then transfer our data frame code into the left-hand side, making sure that it is outside the ticket loop. And before I test this code, I do need to make sure that if the name is the exit code, our code breaks. We do have that code in our base component, but it turns out it was missing from our calculate component. And when I tested the code, I can confirm that it works correctly. Off camera, I tried to remove the index by first changing the index to the name column, and it worked, except now our name heading doesn't align with the other headings. A much better solution is to change our movie frame into a string and set the index to false. I've made some other changes to the code off camera, but right now, the code that we care about is the one where we change our movie frame into a string, setting that index to false. The next thing we need to do is format the currency, and if this was an assessment, you might have a trialing slide showing what you did. This involves two steps. For the first step, in the functions area, please create a really simple currency function, which is going to take in a number, and it's going to return the number formatted as currency. Once we've done that, we can scroll most of the way down to the bottom of our code. And after we've worked out the totals, we're going to make a list which includes the columns that need to have currency, our ticket price, our surcharge, our total, and our profit. Then, for each item in that list, we're going to send it through to our currency function, and it will format it correctly. There's one more slight issue with the code, and you probably noticed when I was scrolling that I marked it with some red dots. And it turns out that this code here is somewhat inefficient, because if the person is less than 12, they're going to go back to the start of the loop, which means that we don't need to check that they're less than 12, because we can then see, well, if they're less than 16. If they're not less than 16, we then want to check that they're less than 65, and then our final check is that they're less than 121. And I've done a quick test to confirm that this works. So if they're too young, it does work. I then went with a 12, a 15, a senior citizen, and someone who's too old. And if we have a look, those ticket prices are correct. 2 kids and a senior. And we can see that our name is nicely lined up. And we've got correct formatting. Our spacing's not quite there, but we can fix that when we integrate in the next video.